Thank you for coming to my talk on conference quality and management. Just a quick intro to my IEEE activities. I have been the MTT AP Joint Chapter Chair, I think 10 years ago, and currently I'm the past chair of the Singapore section. I have organized more than 15 conferences in Singapore, mainly in the role of the finance chair, and I had been general co-chair for 3 conferences. I have organized flagship conferences such as GlobeCom from the ComSoc, and also several regional conference like TANCOM, Asia Pacific Microwave Conference, and that's all for my IEEE activities. So why organize a conference? To me, there are some benefits that associate with it. So like you can run a conference, you can build up you can have surplus from the conference, and you can build up the resource of your chapters or section. So it's a mean of promoting. It's also a mean of promoting membership activities, and you can engage members and non-members to join IEEE. Okay, the outline of my talk will be, I'll start with the overview of IEEE conferences, and I quickly run through the scope. It's to IEEE, the scope is very important if you want your conference PDF papers to be included in Explore. So the scope must be within the topic of interest of any of the technical society. Thirdly, I'll cover the technical programs, and I will also touch on the similarity check and also plagiarism, and I will provide some final decision that you can give for accepted paper. Lastly, I will maybe mention about the IEEE conference quality guidelines. So IEEE has no paper quality guidelines per se. So it's up to the due diligence of the conference organizer to have good quality papers in their conference. Finally, the conclusion. So in 2019, we have close to 2,000 conferences organized by IEEE OUs. OUs can be your section or your chapters, and more than half are financially sponsored by IEEE. So those 900 that are technical co-sponsored, that means IEEE OU is the technical co-sponsor without any financial support. And as a technical co-sponsor, it is important that the OUs have control and responsibility in the technical program. So in 2019, we have more than 560,000 attendees in IEEE conferences. Then in 2020, even when most of the conferences has gone online, we still have more than 1,600 conferences, and also more than half IEEE has financial sponsored. It's financially sponsored by IEEE. So we still have more than 460,000 attendees in such conferences. So IEEE encourage the formation of new conferences and also participation of OUs to organize conferences. And the objective of the conferences is to provide the members and organization with information, exhibition, for the advancement of electrical and electronics engineering. So MGA, the membership geographical unit, promote conferences conducted by the geo units to support IEEE membership. So in Region 10, Region 10 has 3 flagship conferences. 10Com, which Kerala section has organized it in 2019. We also have 10Sim and the HTC. IEEE will provide financial support to these 3 conferences. And also IEEE will also support technically some of the smaller conferences, mainly to assist the conference for the organizing of the conferences where Region 10 has no financial involvement. So why run a conference? I think is the goals is quite clear to IEEE statement to benefit humanity by the advancing engineering and technology, and also to create forums for discussion. And we hope to grow the IEEE name and also the membership numbers. So, and also Explore has been a very good content source, and this conference is a big revenue generator for IEEE. For the section and chapters, it would also generate surplus. We also help to reach out to potential new members. We can engage the membership and also non-members, and provide collaboration with opportunity with other groups. So for the organizer, it's mainly skill building and also to meet and network with others. And it's also a means for us to give back to the community. And sometimes it can be fun organizing conference. And for the individual, you can share their work, their research with their peers, and get it published in Explore. So important thing about IEEE scope. So IEEE is a technical publisher. So we can look for technical area in IEEE papers. And IEEE has more than 30 societies, and each of them has their field of interest, which might be overlap at times. So IEEE attendees will expect content in the scope of the conferences. And when you submit to the paper to Explore, it must be within the IEEE scope. So the content is categorized in Explore suitability. So in a team of maybe aerospace, from aerospace to transportation. So a lot of this scope, you can find it in the various society topic of interest. And there are some gray area in mathematics, which have some part of it is applicable to engineering. In chemistry, where you have semiconductor processing, mechanics is MEMS, robotic, and also the various other area. So another thing that is not some area not suitable to IEEE may be some of the pseudoscience topics, and also maybe something related to tourism and others. So now we come to the technical program. So technical program is a series of presentation to be delivered at the conference. So, and it must be within the scope of the conference. So these can be presented in tracks and session, and also in interactive medium. So presentation will have dialogue among the attendees, and other form of engagement, maybe workshop and tutorials. So technical papers are published as proceeding in Explore. So as a technical co-sponsor, the section or chapters is responsible for the technical program quality and scope. So, okay, maybe technical, sitting on top of the technical program is the technical program chair. So he will ensure a well-balanced, good quality program that is organized and presented. TPC chair will manage all the call for paper and to peer review and and selection of the accepted paper recommended by the reviewers. So, and also he must make judgment on the non-presented papers and plagiarism policy. And so in running the program, he must have a technical program committee and also a review team. And after you get all the accepted papers, he will have to coordinate the session. And lastly, make sure that all papers have been screened for plagiarism. So technical program chair roles will discuss key issue with the last technical program. And it is good to link up with the past technical program chair to understand the challenges and the reviewers' workload, and what paper management systems are being used, and the review process. So tracks have maybe very different topics, and make sure that you assign a tracks chair and maybe a co-chair in each of the session. So we have the technical program chair right on top of the program, overseeing the technical program committee. And lastly, the reviewers will help with the reviews of the papers. So technical program development will allocate schedule time for the papers. So normally it's 20 minutes, 50 minutes for the presentation, and 5 minutes for the Q&A. So other than oral presentation, you can have poster papers as well. And technical program, you can select the peer review using other paper management systems such as EDAS, and make sure that you develop a non-presented paper policy. And the IEEE sponsor must be responsible for the technical program. So timeline to develop the timeline for submission and review. I think this is best to check with the past technical program chair on providing sufficient timeline to your conference start date. So I think this is typically how you work back to get the timeline, starting with the technical program committee, and you need to review recruit the reviewers and start sending out for your call for papers, and working towards the paper submission deadline, make sure you allow some time just in case you do not get paper to have an extension, and all the way to peer review until the final manuscript submission. So IEEE technical sponsor is responsible for ensuring the conference quality and scope. So quality and scope of technical co-sponsor conference continue to be highly variable. Some conferences, as we know, are of very good quality, and some conferences are not so good. So financial conference do not always ensure adequate quality. So the quality will lie with the TPC. So as a summary, TPC technical program is the heart of the conference. The chair is responsible for developing and executing the quality program, and it's a good guide for each paper to have a minimum of 3 reviewers, and reviewers should not be assigned more papers than they can take up. Plagiarism is checking is required. So some of the communication guidelines. So conference is responsible for communicating the policy for call for papers. So, and the conference cannot guarantee the inclusion. Make sure you have specified that the conference cannot guarantee inclusion in IEEE Explore. And IEEE cannot guarantee entries into any particular database as well. So it is better for the conference organizer to indicate that the proceeding will be submitted for publication in Explore and for indexing. So similarity screening. Similarity screening is not review. It's not peer review. You still have to, the TPC still have to go through the peer review process to ensure paper quality. So plagiarism, IEEE define it as the reuse of some paper ideas, process, result, or even words without explicitly acknowledging the original paper author and source. IEEE prohibits publication of substantially the same material even by the same author. This will be self-referencing and or self-plagiarism. So IEEE requires all content to be screened for possible plagiarism or republication. And I think IEEE allows the TPC to use similarity check for plagiarism detection. So similarity check is used to be called cross-check. And I think it is also another name for it is authenticate. So it's superior to other two. It can access the large numbers of database, and it primarily detects similarity, and it's not necessary plagiarism. So similarities check, as I said, is not peer review. The TPC manages similarity check and plagiarism review. And similarity check does not replace peer review process. And even when the percentage of similarity may be high, it just means that you need a human to go through the papers. So subject matters expert will separately review the paper to determine whether it's suitable, it is normal, and the quality is okay. similarity check score should not be the basis for reject or accept the papers. So this is the typical authenticate. I think you can find various similarity. It may be a center, or it may be some references. So it has assigned resources to assist the technical program chair. Make sure he has some help to look in and review and judge. So each accepted paper must be screened for plagiarism. So when to use it? So once again, similarity check must be separated from peer review. So option is to when you can screen the paper. It may be before the peer review or after accepting the paper. And you can screen paper in parallel with peer review, and or even after the conference, which is not so good. So some final decisions for accepting papers. So if your conference or OU have traditionally acceptance rate, then continue to target it. So in general, 50% will be a good target. So avoid the temptation to increase the acceptance rate to attract more people or attract more attendees, or consider or don't consider reducing the rate by having too many parallel sessions. Factors that affect the acceptance rate may be the reputation of the conference and the quality of paper submitted, and the participants that are targeted. It may be a conference mainly meant for students, or a good flagship conference. And the intent, what is the intent of the conference? It may be a workshop that has paper presented in which are in still not final work, or presentation of finished work, or if the proceedings are intended for publication in Explore. So, and for author feedback, clear instruction for text or figuring require revision or correction, and indicate what the additional content to be made, and make suggestions to improve the papers. So for rejecting papers, there are always two schools of thought. So whether it is good to minimize complaints for the rejected authors, we just simply state that the papers was not accepted, or the other method which is used to indicate papers not accepted. Sorry. So don't give any indication of a shortcoming. You may have a good intention to help the authors, but this will invite arguments from the rejected authors. So similarity score should never be shared with the authors. Oh shit, I'm not moving. So sorry, I can't move the slides. I'm not able to move the slide now.
Okay, just a second. Can you reload, Michael?
Yeah,
Yeah, just.
you want me to unshare?
Yeah, just.
Okay, it's moving
yeah,
now.
Okay, fine.
I don't know what happened. So final paper submission, it must be submitted on the IEEE approved template. So you always have to do the e-copyright, and final paper should be reviewed for compliance. So through IEEE Express for IEEE Explore. So, and author is always required to register for the conference before the final manuscript is submitted. And this is part of the no-show policy. So IEEE conference quality process. So sponsoring OU will be responsible for ensuring quality. So it must have careful evaluation of conference before approval of conference application. And there's a conference application review committee will work with section on reviewing the conference application before it is approved. Post-conference for conference flag. Post-conference, we have the TPIC, which will flag conferences for quality review. So organizer must complete the technical program questionnaire, and each paper will be read and scored for scope and quality. If there's any problem, a TPIC members will review the conference proceeding, and TPIC may reject or return the conference to the organizer for removals of papers. And this is okay, the conference quality guideline. So I think in 2010 and 2011, there are a lot of quite a big number of conference paper retraction by IEEE. So in that year, the TPIC was established to address growing conference quality issues. So in the past, there was quite a lot of conference rejected, but after the formation of the TPIC, the conference quality has improved. So conference, and on top of the TPIC is the IEEE Conference Quality Organization, which has the oversight of the quality issue. The TPIC will review 20% of conference proceeding upon submission. And this conference application review committee, of which I'm the member, works with the sponsoring OU for the reviewing on the review of conference application, and also vetting of the sponsor or the conference organizer. And we have the conference organizing integrity committee, which investigate conference misconduct, including editorial, and a conference metric ad hoc committee for conference quality to identify potential problems. And also, lastly, the valid scientific content ad hoc committee to investigate potential pseudoscience papers that are already included in Explore, and then they will recommend actions. So this is the overall conference quality committee. The CQC will ensure quality of IEEE conferences, and it serves as the primary point of contact for reviews and audits, recommend quality policy, procedure, and best practices. The TPIC will review the technical program management and peer review for inclusion in Explore, and establish acceptable quality criteria in processes, and also conduct any appeal. The Conference Application Review Committee. This is after you have submitted your conference application. This application will come to this committee, and this committee will meet IEEE conference quality management and identify sets of application for quality conference, working with the AOUs and checking the sponsors. So TPIC engage the organizer after the conference has taken place, and the CAIRC will engage the sponsor before the conference application is approved. So in CAIRC, we work with the section and society to help in the conference application process. The members will work with a set of section and society, and which is part of the conference application review team. And okay, we will get to know the section leadership and to have a collaborative relationship with him or her. We introduce training if necessary, such as our conference education program. And for the CAIRC process, the conference application is sent to the member for review. The members will take note of concern with the conference and the sponsor, and the member will link up with the section leader on their concern, and also propose some changes. Conference CAIRC members score on the conference application, and if there's any area of concern, it will be diverted to the TPRC for review. And the members can elevate issue to CQC, where CQC has the power to reject the application. And the CAIRC members will also help the section, the council, to review and investigate the application. So primary goal for conference quality is education and training. So okay, when a section provide technical co-sponsorship, it is responsible for the quality of the technical program. So it must be, the section or chapter must be directly involved in developing the technical program and managing it. And the section should be able to review the past conferences to make sure that they are also of good quality. And chapters can provide TCS, and this will require the section approval. And the only entity that evaluates conference sponsor is the section. So no one else vet the conference sponsor. Section can ask for help from the conference application review committee or from MCE. So, okay, I think in the past, in the past few years, there are a lot of conferences in Region 10. I think more than half of it are happening in more than half of the numbers of IEEE conferences in the world are in Region 10. In particular, India and China and Indonesia has the highest number of conferences in Asia. So we will work towards improving IEEE conferences and paper quality, build the reputation of the conference, and Region 10 always provide ongoing training and monitoring of conferences, and organizer must be always aware of the required standards and expectation. So lastly, I will also show the MC resources for conference organizer. And I will make a PDF of this presentation and forward to the Kochi section leadership. Okay. Okay, I think that's all for my presentation. And any question?
Yeah, thank you, Michael Ong.
Yes.
Yeah, I think there are some questions chat box. I think I will read it for benefit of all.
Okay.
So the first question is from Dr. Sharath KS. He would like to ask, sir, what are the parameters for the selection of reviewers?
Parameters for selection of reviewers. So if okay, I think we expect the reviewers to have in-depth knowledge of the subject matters. He might not be the expert, but at least he has quite in-depth knowledge. So I think you can find a lot of reviewers if you go on the EDA's management system. They will keep the reviewers in there, and I think you can look. If you do not know of any reviewers, you can look for them there. And maybe I can go through the question that was posted earlier. So the first question that was posted is that, okay, how do we ensure that the author has made the necessary amendment before after the first review and before he submit his the final manuscript. So this is up to the TPC chair. He has to get the reviewers to go through the final manuscript to ensure that the authors have made the necessary correction in his paper. And I think second question was about what happened if someone found out that the papers after the organizer has submitted to explore, it's not the same papers. It's not the same. So I think they have to talk to the organizer, and the organizer has to appeal to explore. And the last question, it was about the chapter in the institute or college as the financial co-sponsor. Normally, we don't allow student branches or student chapter branches to be the financial co-sponsor. Financial co-sponsor must be IEEE OU only for the section, the technical chapters, and the council. Okay, yeah.
I
Okay.
think Dr. Sharath, if you need any further clarification, can you just turn on your mic and just ask Michael Long?
Okay, it's okay. It's okay.
Okay. So another question, Michael Long.
Yes.
Can an author submit a paper without an affiliation to an IEEE conference and included by IEEE Explore? The person may not have a current affiliation with any organization.
I think so. It may be in his own capacity. If the paper is within the scope of the IEEE domain and is peer review, and the conference accept the papers whereby the author has presented it, I think it will be suitable for to be included in Explore.
Okay. So first of all, that paper must be accepted by some conference, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Once it is accepted, then there is no point in asking.
And I think under the paper policy, it must be presented. Otherwise,
Yeah.
if it's not presented, we should not be putting it into Explore.
Yeah, yeah. Dr. Varun, if you have to make it clear, maybe, or the answer is not clear, please turn on your mic and just.
Dear Michael Long.
Yes,
hello.
yes,
Yeah.
sir. Yeah.
I have just a quick query connecting with the same question. That is, if there is some misconduct that is identified in any paper, we normally are supposed to report to the organization of the author, I believe.
If there's
So if there is no affiliation for that author, so where do we report this if we find out any misconduct?
if the author does not have any affiliation.
Yes, yes.
In terms of plagiarism, is it in terms of plagiarism?
Yeah. Let's say if the author has plagiarized a large amount of content and he submits to an IEEE conference without an affiliation. So
without an affiliation.
Yeah, what procedure we will follow?
I'm not sure what is this. No affiliation. So he's not in a college. He's not in a university.
Yeah, he may have resigned from an institute and has not joined another institute. So there are chances that he might be a freelance person also, freelance researcher.
Freelance, but he is entitled to do his own research work.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I think normally the plagiarism is based on complaints. So it will go through to, I think in Region 10, we have received a couple of plagiarism over the years. So who was the one? We are required to get subject matter expert to go through the paper and make sure that to check whether it's a major or minor plagiarism issue.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Can I add to it with your permission, Michael?
Yes.
Yeah, I think IEEE keeps a database of prohibited authors list. It's called PAL, P-A-L. I think if it is a serious misconduct, directly we can report to IEEE headquarters so that his name and his email address may be included in the PAL database. So in future, any conferences, he may not be able to submit it with his name and the email address that is been registered.
Yes.
And maybe that can be done.
Yeah, but before his name is put up on the list, IEEE will conduct a thorough investigation to make
Okay.
sure that it is really some serious plagiarism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. After the investigation and maybe after the report from
Yes.
IEEE.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Michael
Thank you
Long,
very
we
much.
have- Yeah. Okay. Michael Long, we have another question.
Yes.
What are the IEEE norms for maximum allowable plagiarism in conference proceedings? This is from Dr. Sri Kumar K.
I don't think we allow any form of plagiarism in the IEEE publication.
Yeah.
So normally the publication, the authenticate or the similarity check will be able to flag up similarity.
Yeah.
So this will be some form of, you can refer, it may be some lighter form of plagiarism.
Yeah.
It does not necessarily construe to any plagiarism, but it can have some indication of it. So you can use it to roughly check.
Yeah. Sri Kumar, if the answer is not clear, you can turn on mic, and if you have further clarifications to be done, please ask the question.
Santosh sir.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, I think he might have asked regarding the percentage level of similarity index that is being acceptable by the IEEE conference, whether 15% similarity index or 20%. So many of the conference organizers are having this doubt: what is the acceptable level by IEEE?
Okay.
Okay. I don't think IEEE provide how many percent similarity is the norm. So yeah, as I said, a higher percentage, that means that you have to get someone to look through the paper. It does not mean that the paper is no good.
Yeah. Now,
Okay.
can I add something, Michael Long, with your
Yes, please.
Yeah. See, IEEE provides a service called cross check, and it uses internally authenticate similarity checking tool. And while we scan the papers, right? So authenticate will give you a score that is corresponding to the similarity score. And if it is above 30%, including the references, IEEE will say not okay. But still, the TPC members can take that paper and they can do a review. But if you are getting a 90%, maybe immediately you can reject it, because there is a high probability that most of the content are coming from other works. But if it is somewhere around 22, maybe 30, 35%, you can still take that and make a review process. So I think after inclusion in or before inclusion of papers in Expo, you have to make sure that maybe a low percentage of similarity score is there for all papers. I think that is up to the TPC committee to decide.
Yeah, TPC will decide this.
Yeah. I think Sri Kumar, I think we have answered your question. Yeah, okay. We have another question, Dr. Sainu Franco. If you are there, please, can you turn on your mic and ask that question?
So I just wanted to know, some of these presentations were really interesting.
Okay. Yeah. We will be sharing all the recordings of the entire POCO workshop, as well as if the presenters are sharing their slides, definitely we will be sharing with you. No issues. No issues.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. And if any other questions are there, please, you can turn on your mic and ask. We have a few more seconds. So I think Trupti, you can conclude the session and you can thank Michael Ong.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Michael, for sharing your vast experience on conference organization. The walk through the technical program development is one of the most important takeaway from this session. And the important message that we can see is Similarity Check is not a replacement of peer review. It's something that we all would have noted. Thank you for this informative talk, and I'm sure that this will definitely help the participants to come up with quality programs in the future. So I would like to just present a token of our appreciation through a virtual memento. Please, I'm just sharing it in the screen. Thank you, sir.
Oh, thank you, Triti. Thank you to the Kochi subsection.
Thank you, Michael Ong.
Thank you, Santosh. Yeah.
It was very much pleasure to have you here, and we have learned a lot from you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.